Hi folks, today we're going to focus on dividing polynomials, and we're going to divide in a couple of different ways. First off, we're going to use long division. Now if you remember back a few years ago when you were doing long division, you weren't really dividing at all, you were more like multiplying and subtracting. So what I'm going to start out with is just a real quick example of that so that you can maybe remember a little bit. So I'm going to do 242 divided by 10. So again, remember that it's basically multiplication. So we're first going to look at what number times 10 would give us 24 or close to it. And the answer to that would be 2. So we multiply. 2 times 10 is 20. And then we subtract. So 24 minus 20 would be 4. And then we bring down that next number. And then we do it again. What number times 10 would give us 42? And the answer to that would be 4. So 4 times 10 is 40. And then we would subtract. So 42 minus 40 would be 2. So our answer then would be 24 and 2/10. Or 24 and 1/5. So that's our answer, and that's kind of the direction we're going to go with this, is our thoughts are going to be the same along these lines as well. All right, it's multiplication followed by subtraction. Now, when we're going to do this, we first need to take a look here and make sure that everything is there and it's in order. So our biggest exponent is a third power, so we need to make sure that the second, the first, and the constant are there. If those aren't all there, we need to put placeholders in. And we will talk about those placeholders in a little bit. So starting out, we just need to set it up. So the x minus 2 goes on the outside. And the x to the third plus 5x to the second minus 7x plus 2 goes underneath. And now it's just a series of multiply and subtract. So we start off with what number times x would get us this first term of x to the third. So the answer to that would be x to the second. So x to the second times x would get us x to the third. Now this is kind of like a distributive property where we go x to the second times the negative 2. So there we go. Now we need to subtract down. So we're going to subtract everything. So we have x to the third minus x to the third. So this first part should get you a 0 right here. That's how you know you picked the right number. And then we go 5x squared minus a negative 2x squared. So minus a negative would be plus the positive. So 5x squared plus 2x squared will be 7x squared. So there it is. Now we bring down the next, just like we did before. So now we have minus 7x. And we repeat the process. It's multiply first. What number times x will give us 7x squared? So the answer there would be positive 7x. So 7x times x is 7x squared. And 7x times negative 2 will be minus 14x. It's distributive. That 7x has to go to both. Now we subtract. So 7x squared minus 7x squared, you should get a 0. Negative 7x minus a negative again. So negative 7x plus 14x will be plus 7x. So we have a positive 7x, and then we bring down the next. So plus 2. And we do it again. What number times x will give us 7x? And in that case, it's going to be positive 7. So 7 times x is 7x. And 7 times negative 2 is minus 14. We subtract everything. So 7x minus 7x is 0. 2 minus a negative 14 would be 16. So then our answer is right up here. X squared plus 7x plus 7 plus, always go plus here, plus, here's our remainder, here's what's left over because we have nothing else to bring down, so plus 16 over whatever we were dividing by, x minus 2. There's your answer. So that's long division. Here's another example for you. I'm going to save that for you to do on your own, just so you can maybe get a little more practice with it. And I will give you the answer for this to see if you do it right, which is x squared minus 3x plus 10 plus negative 30 over x plus 2. Okay, so sorry about this. That should be a 10. Couldn't really see it. So there you go. Here we're going to do the same thing. It's more long division, but this time things get a little bit bigger, and if you'll notice here, we have some things missing. We go from fourth power to third power. There is no second power, so we need to put a placeholder in there. I'll show you how to do that. All right, so starting off is just writing things where they belong. So we have x squared minus 3x plus 5 on the outside, and the number that we are dividing is 3x to the fourth minus 5x to the third. And here, there's no x squared term, so we want to make sure that we put a 0 in there, or 0x squared, and then we have the plus 4x and the minus 6. So now, again, all it is a series of multiplication and subtract. So what number times x squared will give us 3x to the fourth? And that number will be 3x squared. So it's distributive. 3x squared times x squared will give us 3x to the fourth. And 3x squared times negative 3x will be minus 9x to the third. And then 3x squared plus 5x will be plus 15x squared. And we got to make sure now that we subtract everything. So 3x to the fourth minus 3x to the fourth is gone. Negative 5x cubed minus a negative, so plus 9x cubed. So that'll be a positive 4x cubed. And here you can see the need for that placeholder because you have 0x squared or nothing minus 15x squared. So that'll be minus 15x squared. And then we bring down the next. Now it's, again, a series of multiply and subtract. So what number times x squared will give us 4x cubed, and that'll be a positive 4x. So 4x times x squared will be positive 4x to the third. 4x times negative 3x will be minus 12x squared. And 4x times 5 will be plus 20x. And again, we want to make sure that we subtract everything. 4x cubed minus 4x cubed, 0. Negative 15x squared minus a negative, so plus 12x squared will be negative 3x squared. And 4x minus 20x will be minus 16x. And then we bring down the last one, so minus 6. Now, again, a series of multiplies and subtracts. So what number times x squared will give us negative 3x squared? It would be minus 3. So minus 3x squared. And negative 3 times minus 3x will be plus 9x. And negative 3 times a positive 5 will be minus 15. Subtract everything. So our x squareds will eliminate out. Negative 16x minus 9x will be minus 25x. Negative 6 minus a negative 15 will be plus 9. So our answer then is right up here. It's 3x squared plus 4x minus 3 plus negative 25x plus 9 over whatever we were dividing by, which is x squared minus 3x plus 5. And there's our answer. Okay, and again, I have another one for you that you can do on your own, and you'll make sure that you need to plug in that x squared term right there, put in a place filler, put a 0 in there, and we'll see how you do on that one when you come to class if you so choose. This time we're going to use synthetic division. Now, synthetic division only works when you are dividing by a binomial. All right, basically a linear binomial. Now, synthetic division is really just the same as synthetic substitution. We start out with this part right here, this x plus 3. We're going to set that equal to 0 so that we know the number that goes into the box. So x will be negative 3. So negative 3 is going to go into the box. And then we bring down the coefficients just like we did before. Make sure they're all there, that they're in order, which they are. We have a 2, a 1, a negative 8, and a 5. Leave a space, draw the line, and again, this goes pretty quickly. We bring down that first term, and again, same order, multiply, add. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, add down. Negative 3 times negative 5 is 15, add down. Negative 3 times 7 is negative 21, add down. Now, where things get a little bit different is how you write this. So here's our remainder, just like we had before. Here is our constant. Here's our x term, and here's our x squared term. So our answer, when we divide this, is going to be 2x squared minus 5x plus 7 plus, I always do plus, negative 16 over x plus 3. That's your answer. So synthetic goes quite a bit quicker. Alright, so we're going to do the same type of thing over here on this next one. First off, we're going to take a look at our exponents, make sure they're all there. And this one is missing an x cubed term, and it's missing the constant term. So we need to put placeholders in there for both parts. So the number that goes in the box will be negative 1. Remember, we set this part equal to 0 and solve for x. So x is negative 1. That's the number that goes in the box. We bring down the coefficients. So we have the 4. We're missing an x cubed term, so we need a placeholder. We have our x squared term. The coefficient is negative 2. Our x term is a 3. And our constant term is a 0 because that's missing. Leave a space, draw a line. Bring down the first and follow the pattern. Multiply, add. So we got negative 4. Multiply, add. Multiply, add. Multiply, add. So here's our remainder. Here's our constant. Here's our x. Here's our x squared. And here's our x cubed. So our answer then will be 4x cubed minus 4x squared plus 2x plus 1 plus negative 1 over x plus 1. And that's divided. Here's another problem I'd like you to try on your own to see if you can get it or not, and we can talk about it in class if you so choose. All right, your assignment is on page 366, numbers 3 through 18. Make sure you practice this, especially the long division. That's the one that takes a while to pick up. Synthetic division is pretty simple, but the long division takes a while to pick up. You need to see all those scenarios. All right, best of luck to you. We'll see you in class.